Welcome back to another episode of How Did They Grow? I created this podcast because I wanted you to learn how other coaches, freelancers, service providers, and course sellers are growing their business, landing 10 to 20 new clients every single month, paying them 50, 100, 200K months. See, if they've done it, you can too. And that's just the reality. And I want you to listen to these podcasts to understand what strategies are they using, what techniques are they exploring, because it's in these gems that you can apply it to your business and actually scale things up. When you're ready and you feel like you actually want to learn practical, proven methodologies, or even you want to hire a team that can build you a profitable personal brand, book in a chat with our team because we can guarantee you go viral and guarantee you get clients for your business.
Welcome to the show, guys. This is the How Did They Grow podcast, and today we have on Navjot Dhaliwal. Tell me I pronounced that right.
Yes, you did. You're good.
Amazing. Tell us a little bit about yourself, Navjot.
Yeah. So, well, actually, I guess it's Navjot, so a long O, but yeah.
Navjot. Okay.
Navjot. Yeah. So, my name is Navjot. I'm born and raised in Southern California. I am a transformational coach, and I help women and now men heal their generational patterns that show up in their life as adults. And what really my process is to help them release those generational patterns so that they can actually live authentic and free lives. I believe that, all of us as human beings, we're like born into this world to do something great. And we don't realize how deeply the subconscious and like our psychology and our ancestral like DNA actually, can affect us in negative ways. And so what I do is I help them heal and release all the negativity, all of the, parts of us that feel like, we can't do it, so that they can actually access their generational gifts, because our, ancestors didn't just give us trauma, they gave us beautiful gifts as well that you can access through your own body. So it's very deep work, but that's how I like to share it in the simplest way.
I love it. I'm curious. You said you work with women. Now you're trying to get to working with men. So is that mostly like, professionals? Is it mostly entrepreneurs? Or you just work with anyone who can, afford your services? How does that work?
Yeah, so I actually do business coaching as well on the side. I have like a cohort that I use for that, but for entrepreneurs. But mainly I work with people that are wanting to work on their relationships. So, a lot of people in very different industries. Like I have a client that works in Wall Street. I have a client who, works at Costco. I have a client that, they're all in different places and all different like ranges as far as where they come from.
Yeah.
But they're all willing to go there in healing their relationship patterns. And so I recently started doing couples coaching as well. So that's kind of where a lot of the more men started coming in, and that's been really wonderful.
You recently got into working with men. How does that change, how has that changed your perspective on, your whole coaching thing?
Yeah, it's been interesting because I only work with men right now in the form of couples coaching. So, I was apprehensive to work with men because I always only, like, as soon as I launched my business without even trying, was always attracting only female clients. And so now working with men, it's been great because I actually am understanding and having a lot of compassion, I think, for men, because I work in the emotional realms, relational realms. And I think a lot of men out there need a lot of this work more than we think. And so I always, love it when couples are more than willing to go there and see what patterns they project onto each other. Right. And so it's actually been quite remarkable what's happened now that I've taken on male clients.
Amazing. Just for the sake of the audience, so they know where you're at, how long have you been in this business of coaching? And did you always see yourself as a coach, like growing up, or was this something that, you got into the 9 to 5 and it's like, man, this is not going to be me, and you just entered, the rabbit hole?
I love that question because I recently was connecting a lot of dots from my whole life, and everything did lead to this, but I did not know that, as things were unfolding in my life. So I've been a coach now since 2019, December. So it's been a little bit over 5 years, and I grew so quickly. Like as soon as I started coaching, to be honest, like as soon as I launched it. And I think that's because on my Instagram, my Instagram is Metaphysical Goddess. And that was actually my name for about 12 years since I got my degree in psychology. And, it was just my personal brand. I was just sharing my own healing journey vulnerably out there into the world. My profile was on public. And then once I dropped that I was, a coach, people were very interested because I think they saw that, I was attending retreats around the world and sharing that on social media. I, got my bachelor's in psychology, but everybody else went to be clinical therapists. And I didn't know too much about coaching back then. It was 2013, you know what I mean? But I just knew that, spirit was kind of taking me a different way. And so I started to get a bunch of different certifications in yoga, in Reiki, in NLP, in trauma-informed coaching, and then kind of led to where I'm at today. And really though, back in high school, even I was a part of a bunch of leadership programs, and I love to be in leadership. Like being a leader means so much more to me than even being a coach. And so, yeah.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You said one thing that caught my ear, because recently we had on someone who's into Reiki as well. Maybe you would know her. Her name is Emerging Reiki. Does that sound familiar?
I don't know her.
Okay, no problem. Yeah, so she's a coach as well, and she's amazing. So it's always, it's always amazing to hear that perspective of, spirituality and all that, and how that translates into coaching, So tell me a little bit more about, you told me about your clients and who they are. Tell me about how the social media played a part in that. What was the turning point in the business? You said it was good from the start. That's what you said, right? So how much of a role did social media play?
Yeah. So honestly, like I told you, my profile has been on public. My profile's been on public. I have been sharing my personal journey on there for a decade. And once it was time for me to really start my business, I was actually at a retreat that I was attending in Peru. And I actually met my business coach there. And before I get into social media, I just want to really reiterate how important it was for me to hire a mentor in business, because even though I'm so vulnerable and so open to share my personal life on social media, there's so much resistance once I actually started to be like, okay, guys, I'm a coach, right? And it's it was scary, right? It was scary to be like, okay, now I'm doing this thing, you know what I mean? Book a consultation with me. So, she kind of kept me on the process, kept me consistent on being able to push through my own resistance towards sharing this more vulnerable way to work with me, right? Because I feel like sales is vulnerable, business is vulnerable. It's first it was just my personal story, and now I'm kind of inviting you to use the modalities that I used and my process that helped me loads with my psychological and spiritual healing. And so, yeah, social media played a huge role. My coach at the time was very much big on seeing what platforms work for me very well. And Instagram was actually the biggest platform that worked for me. I started an IG Live show on there. So people got to know me on IG Live. That was something that she had recommended for me to do. Ever since I did that and started going live, my clientele base boomed, because I think people got to see me in real time. Right. Because I think when you're making posts, which I was still doing as well, or a reel or video at the time, it's a little bit different, right? Because it's recorded. So yeah, I mean, Instagram Live, once that feature hit, I really utilized it.
I think that's amazing. You said a couple of things that I want to touch on. I think first of all, you said something about a mentor and hiring an expert. I think that's amazing because a lot of entrepreneurs, especially the young ones, as I said, they're really hesitant in terms of, they think everything's a scam and do I really need a mentor? I'm a one-man team. I'm a solopreneur. What would you say to someone in the audience who's listening and has this sort of mentality?
Yeah, I came from that mentality, you know what I mean? And so I really have compassion for it, because of course, when people think about business or coaching, I think a lot of people do think of scam artists, right? And there could be some out there. But the thing is, if you have a genuine connection with somebody and you get on a call with them or something and they want to support you, they want to help you, I say do it. Don't even think twice, because that investment compounded in my growth. And also it's the resistance, like I mentioned. So it's even if I was doing it on my own, started sharing about my business, let's say I don't get clients after 2 weeks of posting consistently, I'm going to get in my head. I'm human. You know what I mean? I'm human. So getting on that call every week with my mentor, she helped me see that, okay, just because people haven't, booked a consultation with you yet, or, you haven't had a sales conversation yet, like you need to keep going, right? And so I think that was the biggest thing that really helped me. And of course, when like you do have clients, you need somebody there to help support you in things that just come up in business, like when people, maybe fail on a payment, or, how do you manage that? Like I didn't know any of that, and so I was so grateful to have her there to support me.
Amazing. The other thing I wanted to ask was like, you said something about Instagram and how you've used Instagram to basically grow that audience. I'm curious, was it only Instagram? Like right now, are you doing other social media platforms? Are you on TikTok, YouTube, Facebook, on all those platforms?
So I'm on all those platforms, but surprisingly, over the last 5 years, it has only been Instagram as far as people finding me. Also, I have a really great referral base. So my clients will hire me, they'll tell their friends, and then they hire me. And then like they're working with me for years and years and years. So it's kind of like incredible how in 5 years I've done all of that just on like doubling down on Instagram. And that was really something that I found because Instagram is really fun for me. And I started to get clients on there. So I was like, just keep doing what works. But now I'm in a place where I'm actually investing in getting on multiple platforms, because if I built a 6-figure business just by Instagram, like with little to no structure, I'm a very type B person. So like structure is like kind of hard for me and my brain. And so now, adding systems, adding a process, like I already know I could take my business to 7 figures now that, I know that I could do it myself on Instagram, but now like going into multiple platforms is really how I'm going to build a movement with my message.
I think that's an amazing idea. Would you say that's like one of the big goals for 2025?
Absolutely. 100%.
Amazing. So maybe kind of share with the audience, what's that strategy going to look like? Obviously, it's one thing to say it, but like, what are the key things you're looking to implement in terms of making it easier for yourself? You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. So one thing that I'm doing with Instagram, just to start with that, is I've hired a new business mentor and a person that really follows how Instagram has evolved, because the way that people are buying from 5 years ago is not going to be the same way they're buying now. For instance, like she's helping me with like little things like messaging, like how-to content isn't really, it's just okay, just keep scrolling, right? But now people want to hear a personal story. Now they want to hear like they want a little mix, of problem aware content, activation content, storytelling content, right? To get someone to relate to you, and then some educational content as well, right? So just mixing that up on social media. Another really great thing now is that my mentor is advising me to get on TikTok, because TikTok, the way the algorithm works is it's not just people that know you and follow you on Instagram. It's like that can go out anywhere, right? And TikTok strategy is a little bit different. You got to post a little bit more, maybe smaller clips, or maybe you're doing something, like doing your makeup and talking about, what you do. Like that's been a really great way, I think, that a lot of people utilize TikTok. I just recently learned about YouTube Shorts, you know what I mean? So LinkedIn has also been like a thing that's been coming up for me lately, especially because I would love to take my framework into the corporate space. I'm hosting a conference at the end of the year. So just one platform is no longer going to cut it. I'm going to need, if I want to fill this conference up to now 500, right? Like for me, like with the client base that I had, like 10, 20 clients a year that was supporting me in, building what I built over the last 5 years, like a 6-figure business. Now I'm taking it bigger. So I do need to reach hundreds of thousands of people, right? Definitely. And so that's kind of where I'm looking at right now. So doing a lot of research right now, hired a couple mentors to help me out. But yes, definitely something that's huge on my 2025, things that I really want to get done.
Amazing. It's amazing listening to you, speak about your goals and hearing how, passionate and how you already speak as if you're already there and like you can feel it. And I think that's amazing. Let me ask you, so you can share with the audience, what do you think is going to be like a couple of things that's going to hold you back in terms of reaching those dreams? Because so like, you know what I mean? Like the speed bumps and the, the diversions, what's going to be, what are going to be those things?
One thing is, well, definitely if I stop showing up, if I stop taking action, I think that's one of the biggest things. And the only reason why I would do that is, time. Sometimes I get tired, making all this content. And so,
You do it alone?
without my mentors, currently, yes, but I do have an operations manager now. So I'm so grateful because she's helping me with organizing everything. I'm not a very organized person, like I said, type B. So her organizing everything and putting me on like a plan, on a schedule, has been super helpful.
Yeah.
So if anything, I would say, if something could get in my way, it's time. It's the time that it takes to edit. I'm a creator. So sometimes with editing, like, editing is also a creative process as well, but I'm more like, all right, push record, let's go. You know what I mean? And so sometimes staying on CapCut, I love editing, but it does take a lot of time. So that's my only biggest thing is like, okay, I need to put myself on a better schedule for that, or outsource, get some help. And I think the other thing that could really, actually, really nothing else is holding me back right now. I just invested a lot into my business. And so I am full force just going for it and showing up as much as I can. So
Amazing. I love what you said about like you are like push camera record. And that's a common theme because we have a lot of coaches on here, and I'm sure the audience hears this a lot. Like coaches are, especially the ones who are, it's a bit of a mix. There's coaches who they're really, really focused on delivering to their clients in terms of making their clients feel as much as possible, basically, right? You know what I mean? And at the same time, they're trying to grow their audience on social media. So it's like, if they're trying to fulfill this, but if they can't fulfill this, you know what I mean? Because they're doing it on their own. And then there's the people who leverage social media, you know what I'm saying? To get clients, but then their fulfillment is subpar. So I like the way you talk about it, and it's like you're trying to balance the two, and it's amazing. Tell us more about that.
I hope you're enjoying this podcast. I hope you're taking notes. I hope you're learning so much practical wisdom, because that's what I really wanted from this podcast. Now, I just want to quickly say, if you're looking for a team that can actually help you explode and go viral with your personal brand with proven methodologies, I say this because I've been doing this for the past 5 years. We've got a team of 30 people who are ready to go ahead and explode your brand so you can get clients begging to work with you. Have a chat with one of our advisors. You can book in a chat using one of the links around this video, because that chat might just change your life.
Yeah, definitely. I think one of the biggest things too, going back to like messaging and stuff like that, is the biggest thing I'm learning with that is actually less is more on social media. And then being able to, I love what we talked about earlier. It's kind of like, how can we get people off the internet into my programs, right? Like off social media into my programs. And I think what I was struggling with before was I was getting very, very deep, like you said, making people feel and like, providing a lot of value on social media. But the real value is when they say yes to themselves and get themselves into my program, because then their life starts transforming like crazy. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I just really feel like when you hire a mentor or a coach, like you're really collapsing time with what you say you want. Right. And so, that has been something I'm like balancing, because one thing I'm learning with this new mentor that I hired about messaging is actually on social media, people don't really need to hear all of the things that you're going to like information that they're giving you. They just need enough to be able to know this is what you do, and I work in such abstract realms with what I do with the subconscious. So it's like, how can I communicate that in small bits and pieces, and I think everyone's attention spans are getting smaller now. I used to make like these 5-minute reels, 3-minute reels. I'm still struggling with this to like make it smaller, and not try to like prove myself so much. I think on social media is a really big one. And like, how can I say what I need to say in a smaller amount of time and still provide all that value that they need, enough to get them to be like, okay, I need to work with this girl. And then they go and hire me. So yeah.
Amazing. That's amazing. That's an insane amount of value given to our audience. I think that's amazing. What about your business in terms of like business wise? Like you said you get a lot of referrals, right? How does that work? And is that your main source of like clientele, or do you do a lot of marketing in terms of Facebook ads, or is organic a big part of your system as well?
Organic is a big part of my system. So I get referrals like over the last 2 years, out of the 5 that I've been in business, the last 2 years, I've gotten the most amount of referrals, because I think people see that my clients' lives are like transforming, right? So imagine like you're somebody's friend and they're like, whoa, you've shifted a lot in the last year. Like, what are you doing? You know? And then they're like, oh, I'm working with this coach named Navjot, and this is what we do. And it's like so life-changing. And then they'll go and hire me. And then it's like every year they end up hiring me again and again, because I also host retreats. So my retreats are a big selling point as well. So I always feel that, yeah, referrals have been like surprisingly huge for me. And I've only done organic marketing. My first business coach was all about, hey, before you go and invest in ads and stuff, like double down on what you already have. You already are the thing. You already can sell. And like, I never knew how to sell before. So for anybody out there too that is looking for a business coach, like the way that I business coach my clients is like, none of us like really, unless you come from the sales world, know how to sell, right? So it's like you could talk about your service all day long, but when it comes to making that offer and actually asking for the sale, right, they like struggle with just that piece. So I feel like for me, it's been like organic marketing, getting people on sales calls, consultations with me, and then closing the sale. And just doing that in such a genuine way. And I think now I'm ready to actually start investing in, let's say, ads, because I'm also dropping my coaching school at the end of this year. I got certified to certify coaches in NLP and trauma-informed coaching. So I'll be dropping certifications. And from there, I would love to get ads going, right? I would love to start hitting, like I said, hundreds of thousands of people versus, you know, less than 50, a year. And so I've also really had a lot of success by doing high ticket sales. So I don't really have a lot of low ticket programs, because I'm like, if you really want transformation, like let's go all in, and like invest in an amount that's going to make you feel so uncomfortable, because we're going to break so many patterns. And I feel like when we're fully invested, the patterns actually break. So that's another really big thing that I feel like I've mastered is high ticket sales. And now I'm playing around with, can I get warm leads off social media and into maybe a low ticket membership or something like that, right? And then those are now hot leads that I could like sell into my higher programs.
Yeah, I think that's amazing, especially this last thing you said, which is like, obviously the first thing you said was like ads. And the thing about ads, right? I always say this all the time, like, obviously I'm not an expert, but like before you throw ads in, right? Ads is like, it's like a casino. You're throwing money, seeing, is this going to work? Is this going to work? What's better is you build a system, you build a machine that's already making you 10, 20K a month. And then you pump ads into it to scale it to like those 6-figure months. You know what I'm saying? Because you have to build that machine first, then you fuel it, if you know what I mean.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I 100% agree with that.
Yeah. And the second thing you said is like organic. And obviously I want you to break it down, but like, let me just give you some kind of guideline, like organic. In terms of the funnel, you know what a funnel is, right? You're into sales, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's the difference? What's the big difference between a funnel, the organic funnel, and the ads funnel? In terms of client lifeline.
Honestly, I think that doing it organically gives you more of those ideal clients that are going to keep buying from you. And that's really, really important, because when I think about ads, and even my first business mentor told me this, she's like, you don't need all of those like ad funnels and all that, because guess what? Like, yeah, I might bring you people, but are those going to be the people like your dream clients that you actually want to work with?
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I feel like that's my biggest fear, or like resistance towards like doing ads, because my organic funnel is like, hey, you find me on Instagram, you really, really like my reel. Like I said, right now, my sales, process is they book a consultation with me. I, sell them into either my group or my one-on-one private space. And from there, like they're in. It's so simple. I send them the contract, they make their, first payment, and they're in. So I like the organic way a lot, to be honest, because I'm building real connection with people.
Yes.
Yeah. And then on the front end, it seems like, oh man, you're having a lot of sales conversations, or like you're showing up a lot on social media, but like in the back end, it really, when you look back, makes all the difference, because of even what I said earlier, referrals. That is the most organic way for somebody not to have any resistance towards hiring you. You know what I mean? I just sold a 10K package to a couple this last month, and they came to me from a referral. And it's like, that was the most easiest sale ever, because it's like I did my due diligence and was organically talking to these people that ended up telling their friends, you know what I mean? And I coached them. So yeah.
Yeah, it's like they say, when it's referrals or organic, if you master that organic content thing and you take it to the next level, the sales calls are like butter. The people come on and it's like they're taking an order. They just say, hey, I want this. Okay, because they already know you, they already trust you. You know, Google,
Yeah.
Google, they did this study. I don't know if you're familiar with it, the 7-11-4 study. You heard about it before?
No, I haven't.
So basically, Google did, and they found out that before someone can buy from you, like in this new social media age, they have to watch at least 7 hours of your content over 11 different touch points, over 4 different social media platforms. So this is the average. So that just shows you the amount of like how much trust plays a role. And like if you're not putting that content out there, if you're not showing up, people are not going to trust you. And when they do trust you, it becomes an easy sale. You could be closing, you know, you said you do your own sales, so you could be closing 60 to 80% on organic because the people already trust you. There's not a lot of objections.
Yeah, I have a 90% close rate, and then any
Amazing.
any back end offer that you are giving after they've
Yeah.
already like worked with you for a couple months,
Yeah.
even though you're charging more, it's a more easier yes because they already have worked with you. Like it's just so fascinating to me. You know, I never thought I was like going to be good at sales. I worked in the restaurant industry as a server for 10 years, but it's like I was so good at service. So I think a lot of coaches out there too, we're so good at servicing people, but we forget that putting a number to that is actually so important, and being able to pitch it from your heart. You know what I mean? Sales is service too. And so, that's incredible what you just said too. I had no idea about those stats with social media and content. It's so important to put content out there. And yeah, my biggest thing with like ads is like, I don't want to be like some cheesy ad out there, you know, for my services either. If I do go into ads, I'd love for it to look and sound and feel a lot like, even just if you go to my page, like
Your regular content.
yeah, just my regular content, like, oh, okay, she's being real. Like I would love that to come across if I do ads ever.
I think that's amazing. I think we went into a lot of stuff. Let me just ask you, what is one thing you wish I asked you on this podcast?
I wish you asked me. We went a little bit into it. So I guess maybe to go deeper into people's apprehensions when it comes to hiring a coach and being afraid of being scammed, or like, you know, the industry. I feel like the industry needs to be talked about.
Yeah, there's definitely toxic, you know, Miami Guru, you know, Lambo, Rolex and all that. yeah, definitely. There's a lot of apprehension. I think let me let you handle it. You know, what do you want to say?
Yeah, so my biggest message for all of that is, you know, I think with anything in life, right? Even a pen. I mean, I don't have a pen right here, but I want everyone to imagine a pen. Yeah, you have a pen, right, Mike? So it's like you can use that pen to write the most beautiful letter, right, to somebody.
Yeah.
You could use that pen to, you know, write a poem, right? Do something beautiful with it. Or you can use it to stab somebody's eye out, right? I think that money is the same way. We can use it for good, we can use it for evil. And I think that the coaching industry gets a bad rap because, one, I understand it's a very dysregulated industry. A lot of people haven't put in the amount of investment that real coaches with integrity have to do the service that they do, right? To provide that. And I think that a lot of people look at the coaching industry and they see those people that are doing maybe more surface level coaching, or more like they're not, heart's not really in it and they're doing it for the money. But I think that it turns a lot of people off from like the coaches that are actually in the magic of coaching, that understand that, oh my God, mentorship can help you collapse time with what you say you want, right? Whether that's a relationship, whether that's, you know, a business, whether that's even a lifestyle that you want. Like I've helped my clients create the most beautiful lives because they were able to invest in themselves in my program, right? And I think that that's, when you look at it that way, it's so magical. It's such a beautiful process to hire a coach and to trust yourself like that. And I think the industry is very diluted. You know, for anybody out there that's considering to hire a coach, I say trust how you feel when you speak to this person, and, you know, hire them based on like that rapport that you have with them, right? And ask them questions, you know, ask them like what, not just certifications they have, like that's also really important, but also like, you know, how exactly, what's their process, you know, make sure that you are bought into their process, and you won't get screwed over, you know what I mean? Because it's like then you're actually asking the right questions on a lot of these calls that people get on with coaches. Yeah.
I
Yeah.
think that's amazing. I think that's amazing. And this is like a great way to end. And you know what? Hormozy used to say, like, you know Hormozy, right?
Yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So Hormozy used to say like this thing about like, okay, the goal is to get to Hawaii. So basically your client's goal would be like getting into a good mental state. I don't know if that's right, right?
Yeah, a beautiful relationship with themselves.
Beautiful relationship with themselves, right? So that's the Hawaii, right? If you want to get to Hawaii, you can swim to Hawaii. You know, you can take let's say a bus to Hawaii. You can take a boat to Hawaii. But if you can afford to take a helicopter to Hawaii, take a helicopter. Get there faster. You know what I mean? Use your money as a leverage. You know what I mean? Stop trying to be the hard worker who is no, I'm gonna swim and like no, take the heli, get there faster, and do
Yeah.
what you need to do. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And afford is such a funny word to me too, because it's like, I don't think if I looked at all the mentors and coaches that I've hired to get me to where I'm at today, I
Yeah.
don't think I would have ever thought like I afforded them. It was like like, according to like what we know of that word, right? If anything, my brain was like, how can I afford this? And I would go find the resources. And I
Mm,
feel like that's also what I tell my clients. Like I'm like, I don't think you have thousands of dollars lying around to like, afford, for
yeah.
life coaching, you know what I mean? Like, I'm like, but my clients that go and find the resources and make it happen, they're the ones that end up getting to Hawaii and becoming the person and the version of themselves that they've always been wishing that they could be,
Yeah.
and yeah, so I always find that that's always a very interesting word as well, because I don't think it means like having that cash on hand. Sometimes it's like, getting, a credit card, or like figuring something out where you a loan, or even going and asking to borrow it from your family, like whatever it may be. We also have to look at how much money do we spend every year
Mm,
swiping our card for like going out for drinks, or like,
yeah.
going out and like, smoking weed, or like going out and like partying, and it's like we don't think about how much that compounds and how quickly we spend $1,000, right? And so it's like, how can you afford not to hire a coach, right? That's why I always like to like leave with
Mm,
as well, because I think it's so important.
amazing. Amazing. Navjo, where can the people go to find out and learn more about your work?
Oh, I love this question. My DMs are always open. My DMs are always open. I love having these conversations. So you can go to metaphysical_goddess on Instagram. That's
Okay.
going to be the best way to find me.
Metaphysical_goddess, right?
Yeah.
Is that gonna, when you get back on TikTok, is that gonna be the same thing, or should they find you a different place?
I do have a TikTok, and it's metaphysical goddess with no underscore. And then I
Okay.
also have one called Meta Goddess. I'm currently in
Okay.
the middle of a rebrand, so that's going to be the Rising Phoenix.
Amazing.
And that's the mastermind that I'm currently opening the doors to. So, but I don't know if I'm going to change my Instagram name to Rising Phoenix. I don't know yet. But yes, metaphysical_goddess.
Amazing. Amazing. This has been amazing, Navjot, and it's been amazing to have you on. Hopefully, we can have you on some other time.
I'd love that. Thank you so much. This was such a brilliant conversation and much needed as well.
Thank you. Thank you. It's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. See you some other time.
Thank you.
I really hope you enjoyed this podcast. I want you to go away and execute everything there is that you've learned. Now, one thing I will say is if you're in a position where you're ready to actually take things to another level, you want structured, clear guidance, you want a team that can actually help accelerate you, book in a chat with our advisors. Why? We can blow up your personal brand to attract clients begging to work with you. All you got to do is book in a chat with our advisors and we can help make it happen. Sound fair enough?